Gotta love the technical difficulties. But, okay, so let me just put this up on Instagram and we'll go live from there as well. Yep. Perfect. We're live on Instagram. Okay. Let's see. Let's see.
Is this on your Ray Ramundo page or?
Yeah, this is gonna be on my page, and then I'll share it around afterward.
Hopefully there's not a lag, because that would be lame. Hey, can you see me?
Yep, I can see you. Can you see me? Are we good? There we go. Okay, perfect.
Cool, awesome. All right, I'm gonna have to use Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans of all ages, we are back. This is the Zenshi Show, and my guest at this time is Ray Ramundo. Welcome, Ray, to the show. I think you did this backwards.
I think so, because this is actually the Laws Roundtable, and we are back with episode number 7. I'm joined by the aerial artist, Zenshi. How's it going, brother?
What's up? What's up? It's going well. You got a little technical difficulties in the beginning, but I think we got it figured out. We're just doing this double stream here. Got the audio, video. It's working. But life is good.
Awesome. Yes, it's the joy of streaming. Unfortunately, that gotta love technical difficulties.
2021, there'll be universal. I thought there would be like futuristic type of internet connections by now. But in a lot of ways, our technology has gotten there and beyond it in many ways. But simple podcasting. Come on, guys.
Gotta love it. But thank you again. Thank you for coming on, Zenshi. This is gonna be awesome. This should be a blast here. It's already started bumpy, so there you go. It's perfect. We just gotta roll with the punches. Yep. Awesome.
Stop for me, Ray. How are you doing? You're asking me how I'm doing. I feel like, Ray, not enough people ask how you're doing. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a crazy week. Had Jimmy Jacobs on Monday, and now we're here. So it's been.
Jacob.
Yep.
I've always had good experiences with him in locker rooms. I haven't shared a whole lot with him. Back in the Chikara days, and independent shows here or there. But yeah, he's always been cool. So I gotta go check out that episode.
Yeah, it's an eye-opening one. So definitely, guys, go check that out. Link will also be in the description down below, including the links to a lot of stuff we're gonna be talking about here. Because I gotta start it off as well with let's talk about Lucha. So love for Lucha. You even created a brand out of it with Lucha Wear. Where did that love start for it? Uh-oh.
Hello.
Again. Oh.
All right, we're back.
Can you hear me?
Start it off. How you starting it off, buddy? No.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me? Are we good?
We are good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so where was like I was saying, that love for lucha? Where did that start, and how did you get involved into the world of Lucha Libre?
Lucha Libre specifically, or just like wrestling in general?
Let's first go Lucha Libre, because that's like, because I see.
Well, obviously that would be kind of. Well, I'll start with this. When I was a kid, I would, so I have an older brother, and we would watch wrestling and wrestle each other. You know how everybody does with their cousin, brother, uncle, insert, sister, mother, insert person here. And this was
Yeah.
around the WWF, WCW Invasion days. That's what I remember on the screen. Sting was like my first favorite. Booker T, his favorite was Goldberg. But you know, he became a high schooler and got out of wrestling. And that was the end of my exposure for a while. Then when I was like 10 years old,
Yeah.
pizza parlor, and I was waiting for a pizza, and it was Friday night. And what happens on Friday nights in the year 2001, 2000? It's Friday Night SmackDown. So I'm looking up at the screen, and the entrance of Eminem comes out. So you have these guys, these ripped to shred guys with your championship belts on their dicks, and they're walking out with this bad woman named Melina, and she's got no clothes on. And I'm like 10, 11, 12 years old. I didn't know my age back then. I'm like 10, 11, 12 years old. Am I allowed to watch this? I'm just waiting for an adult to like, stop looking, young man. But I was enthralled. I'm just watching at this outrageous entrance. And they get to the ring. I'm like, well, damn, who's going to be their opponent? And then all of a sudden, this little guy comes popping out of the floor. Whee! Who said something? I'm like, whoa, who is this guy? This guy's like 3 foot nothing with a mask on. He's like bouncing down to the ring. He has to do like 17 flips just to get into the ring. That's how small he is. He jumps off the top rope and he starts flipping all over their heads. I didn't even care about the big muscle dude, Batista, his partner. But this Rey Mysterio guy, I'm like, who is he? And that's where it all started. I became a super fan at that point. Rey Mysterio was the guy, and of course I cried like a baby when he won the World Championship in 2006.
Yeah. There you go. I feel like that's usually how it is with a lot of people. Like, that's how I got into wrestling. I got into wrestling because of Rey Mysterio and Guerrero. Their match at Halloween Havoc. That's how I got into it. So Mysterio is definitely, I can see, influences a lot of people. So that's
sure,
amazing to hear.
Definitely brought a new flavor to WWE that guys weren't showing, you know?
Yep.
And, you know, but that was my only view of wrestling, along with 90% of the world at that point. When you said, you know, you're a wrestling fan, oh, that WWE stuff, or people even still call it WWF later on, and that was their only vision. It really wasn't until I became a wrestling trainer, I started training, that I was exposed to all of this outside of wrestling, and I felt like, wow, where was I all this time? You know what I mean?
No, got you. So from there, again, we just Mysterio, but then how'd you get into transcend into the rest of Lucha Libre? Because there's a whole other world of that I feel like maybe most American fans don't get into as much, but there's a lot when you go into the likes of AAA and a lot more. Especially you're big into the Chilean style of Lucha Libre, if I'm not mistaken there.
Yeah, so, you know, back when I started training and stuff, and I started, like, realizing, hey, there's Japanese style, there's Lucha style, there's all kinds, I started, you know, exploring. And one guy that really stuck out to me at the time was Mystico. Familiar with Mystico?
Okay, yep.
Mystico, the original Sin Cara, you know. This guy was on another level when it comes to Lucha Libre. So I really started watching anything I could of Mystico. Just really liked the style and how he was just doing things that the other guys weren't doing, and not just doing them, but doing them with the greatest of ease. So it was all about the moves and the flashy entrances, you know, with Lucha Libre. It's a little light on the storytelling, but definitely just a sight to watch. So it started with that. I started branching out a little bit into some AAA stuff and CMLL stuff. Not a wrestling historian by any means, but you know, I would find those guys. Aerostar, I remember watching back in the day, finding guys like that. So by the time I became, you know, a wrestler myself, and started, you know, really having to figure out who I am. You know, I love borrowing from everywhere, not just from Lucha Libre. There's a lot of Japanese guys. Yuri was a big influence. Ultimo Dragon. There's a lot of guys that you know, that I would pull from. You know, Lucha Libre really means free fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's an open fighting form. So there really isn't a style. Lucha Libre kind of means there is no style.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's an open style. That's really what it means. So a lot of times people think of Lucha Libre as, oh, it's only what you see in Mexican TV show, or it's only this. But really, I think all of wrestling is Lucha Libre. I think
No,
Lucha
it is.
Libre
Yeah.
is a modern term than what we think about. So as far as I'm concerned, when I say the word luchador, I just mean a fighter. I mean somebody that fights for something, what they believe in the context of wrestling.
No, yeah. No, and it definitely is. That's why, like, to me, especially as growing up as a Latino as well, I watched first was Lucha Libre. I was able to get exposed to that and see how, like you said, they're fighting. They have that fighting spirit. There's definitely something there. And again, it transcends to not just the aerial style or something like that. There's a multitude of styles, as we see, especially in American wrestling as well. It's not just strong style. It's not just high flying or technical. It's a multitude of styles that are mixed in that warming pot or that steaming pot in wrestling.
Definitely, and that's where the magic happens when you have those contrasting styles and attributes of different wrestlers. That's what I really love. I love so-called styles clash matches. I love wrestling people with vastly different game plans than me. You know, I think it just creates something that's unique and something that most people don't get to see. You know what I mean?
No, definitely. So I can imagine with that love for Lucha Libre and that, how did that inspire the Lucha Wear brand that you've created? I got some friends there, so I definitely have to talk about this.
There. Who you know?
Well, I got to talk about that big game Leroy. I just had him on as well. That's my brother right there.
Leroy's the man. Yeah, big game. Who else you got? Who else you know?
Got someone else that will be coming on, I believe, either end of this week or next week. Deshaun Pratt, the Prince of Camden himself.
Deshaun Pratt's one of the originals. He was one of the first people that I invited. Yeah. So let's talk about Lucha Wear. Lucha Wear is a little baby of mine that I started. Technically, I started it back in 2016 one identity ago, but it never fleshed out at the time. I really got it launched during the pandemic. You know, when sitting at home, not doing much, trying to figure out, is the world collapsing or not? You know, it was a strange time.
Yeah.
It still is a very strange time, and we're not out of it yet, but it was a very strange time in mid to early 2020. And you know, as an independent wrestler, you know, you gotta find ways to put money in your pocket that's not just in your envelope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you think about it, being a wrestler is a terrible idea as far as like income stability and like building a nice steady life for yourself. You know, awful idea. Terrible. You know, 10 out of 10 would not let you in financially for those reasons, unless you become the top 1%.
Yep.
Which is pretty much, you know, in a lot of big, scary endeavors, for you to survive, you got to become the top 1%. Unfortunately, you know, that's tough. So I'm like, how can we figure out a way to put more money in the pockets of these independent wrestlers that are struggling?
Yep.
You see a lot of wrestlers that don't make it, not because they weren't talented, maybe because they just couldn't get to the damn opportunity to get in the ring. Maybe because they, I don't know, their kids had to eat, so then their talent went on hold because they had to take care of their child, which is understandable, and that's the thing you should do. But now the world doesn't get to see their awesome talent. You know, so a lot of it is just financial. You know, it's like, how can we get rid of that reason? You know, so that was one thing that kind of inspired it. Like, we got to create something by wrestlers for wrestlers.
Gotcha.
The other side of it, that was even a bigger motivation. Think of it this way, okay? So you got the overall lucha economy, I call it, the lucha economy. If you're in the USA, Japan, UK, the lucha economy is pretty good. You want to become a wrestler? Hey, there's a training facility within not that far, probably, of where you live. Okay? You want to, you know, watch some great wrestling. Hey, I can point you to an indie show or 7 within a decent drive. You might have to road trip from where you live, right? There's opportunity. But if you live in Zimbabwe, if you live in Paraguay, if you live in Republic of the Congo, there's not many options for you. If you want to become a wrestler, there may be no place. You may have to wrestle your brother in your backyard to get your wrestling fix, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people traveling to those places to share their knowledge, you know? And this is something I only realized and only kind of found out when I started going back and forth to Chile.
Yeah.
I won this championship from AR Fox, international title. It looked like a little paperweight. It was a little weird. It was a pentagon shape. It definitely looked foreign. And that was the start of everything. They brought me over there, and the first couple trips, you know, they took care of me. They treated me like royalty. It was great. The third time I go over there, I kind of realized, wait a minute. These guys can't really afford to bring me. They're getting a second job. They're selling things. They're really saving up money just to bring me down here. So I realized, you know, there is some differences in where you are. Can you hear me okay, Ray?
Yeah, I can hear you on Skype, but the Instagram kind of it took us down. So give me 1 second.
I think we're doing
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll continue.
Yep.
So basically, lucha wear was, inspired from those two things. How can I, help my brothers and sisters in wrestling and help myself, but how can I also kind of give back to the broader world of wrestling? So that's lucha wear. Basically, what we do is we have artists and we team them up with the best wrestlers that we can find. It's invite only. This is people that have been good to me through my career, friends, people that I want to see succeed, people that wanted to see me succeed. Those are the first people I'm reaching out to with lucha wear. So you got these artists, you got these wrestlers, you put them together and you make the sickest designs, the sickest merch you've ever seen. You got the ability to print on shirts, bags. We're going to have sneakers soon, necklaces, chains, all kinds of stuff that are just more than t-shirts. We really didn't want to just be another name on a t-shirt company. You know, there's been a huge rise of that in the last couple of years. For example, Jack Purcell, he's one of the best artists that we got. He has done this design of facade. Look at this shirt. Like, how dope is that? Jack Purcell is super good, does stuff for DC Comics and Marvel, and he's worked for just about everybody. Right now, he's about to finish a design for JTG. You know JTG.
Yep, definitely do. Design. Yep.
Awesome. M-Dog 20 Matt Cross. Hopefully it's coming in soon.
Ooh, there you go.
Jordan from Chile. I met in Chile. Also does some work for us. This is Chris Bravo, Bolivian wrestler, right there. But this is done by George. Final cut. Boom, boom, boom. And then you got what I'm wearing here. MX. Wrestler MX. Chilean. I wrestled him. How cool is that? So lucha wear is how we make the money. But that's just kind of one part of the Triforce race. There's a lot more to it than that, but I'll leave it there. Got you. No, but that's awesome to hear. And again, like I said, I definitely have some friends on that side of and it's great to see how you've created that brand there that has some amazing stuff. Like, not just to put you over because you're on, but it definitely has some amazing stuff. I love the mask designs, the shirts. There's so much. Again, like, it's not just another t-shirt company in a sense. It definitely has everything you could want from a merch company as well. But that's awesome. And again, I love the story here. I love the aspect of it. So it's awesome. But let's keep it going here. Because now it's time to put you over, because we got to talk about some upcoming stuff you have. Because on the 4th of September, actually, you'll be at All-Star Wrestling. We got the poster up there for everyone to see. We got All-Star Wrestling, as you'll be facing Vary Morales for the Peruvian International Championship. That should be interesting. How are you? Yes. Before you move on, I just want to give the people a chance. We're having some. Okay. Just want to give the people a chance to find Luchawear. It's www.luchawear.art.
Yep, link will be in description. Awesome. Link will be down there below.
Find us on Instagram at Luchawear. Awesome. But back to September 4th, All-Star Wrestling. I love All-Star Wrestling. All-Star Wrestling is my favorite place to wrestle in Georgia. Maybe the Southeast, but definitely right now. September 4th, defending my championship. Get my gym bag. September 4th, defending my championship. I thought I had it with me. Against Barry Morales. That's going to be a big contest. That's it's always cool when we can defend, when we can schedule a foreign championship on on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
Or there's a lot of parties that have to get together and agree to certain things like that. The last one that was a part of that was this cool was against Laredo Kid for the World Junior, the AAA Cruiserweight Championship. That was a lot of fun. But again, that also had to be a result of different parties coming together. So it's always cool when we can make that happen.
Definitely. And that's awesome to see again. Like, you want to see, I feel like that's been the best thing now with independent wrestling, is getting to see those doors open and see people working together to create some magic moments and some you wouldn't think you would get to see, especially with how everything's going. Sadly, we're still in the pandemic. Getting to see a lot of moments like this and see some partnerships occur. It's great to see. So.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know what the heck's going on with this Instagram video, but hey, we're gonna keep it going with the audio at least.
Yeah, sadly, it doesn't want to work on us. Oh God, yeah, I love the technical difficulties.
You know what? As well, Ray. That just means you have to have a rematch. That's all.
Yep.
Hey, but going back to All Star Wrestling, why this is one of my favorite places. Back when I first started wrestling, this was back over 10 years ago, almost over 11 years ago. Back before the mask, this place put me on. This is one of the places that gave me a platform. We used to wrestle back in front of 20 people, 15 people back then. This place is in the middle of nowhere in bumfuckerton, Georgia. Not really. Western Georgia, but back then, you didn't know.
Yeah.
It's like 2 hours of nowhere. But these people would come to this building and they loved their wrestling. And it was absolutely spectacular. And it was a chicken auction place during the week. A chicken auction place, a chicken farm. And then on the weekends, they had these wrestlers. And we would go out there, every month and give it our all. And just the people that ran it had just such great hearts and really, really wanted the wrestlers to succeed. Fast forward 10 years later, I'm just scrolling on Facebook and I see Bobby Flacco, one of my friends, trainees from WWA4.
Yep.
He posts a picture and he's standing in this ring that looks really familiar. And I'm like, hey, that looks really familiar. And I hit him up. I'm like, where is that show that you're at? He's like, oh, Royston. I'm like, what? They still got wrestling in Royston? He's like, yeah, it's called All Star Wrestling now. So they changed their name. They invited me back. I go out there 2 months ago. First time in 10 years, right? I've had an entire career at this point. Come back, it has changed so much. They got a new ring. It was 300 people in the building. I'm talking the last time I seen this place was 20 people, 25 people in the crowd, 30 people on a good night. 300 people. It was packed. They had freaking Rhino on the card. They had Alex Kane on the card. They had me on the card. They had all kinds. It was a show. It was awesome. And now they're bringing back an even bigger show September 4th. Jacob Fatu, he's going to be there. Alexander Hammerstone is going to be on the card. You got Zenshi on the card. You got the world middleweight champion Myron Reed on the card. You got Gangrel on the card. You got Bobby Flacco. You got Landon Hale. You got all kinds. You got Spectre, who's making his debut. It's going to. If you're anywhere in Georgia, drive out to Wilson.
There you go. That's a stacked card right there, especially, again, you're on the card, so that should be enough to sell the ticket right there.
If you're anywhere in Georgia, drive out to Royston.
There you go, guys. But that's awesome to hear, again, especially when you get to go to a place that's like a second home in a sense, right? Like that's what it's sounding like here.
Yeah, it's like returning home.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. But also, another show that will be coming up is MWC. Going to be over here in my neck of the woods in La Boom in New York. You're going to be a part of Viva la Lucha Libre Resurrection. So that's gonna be cool. We got the graphic up here. You got your graphic, the talent announcement graphic there. And I can already see you got Los Parks, you have Rush, it's going to be insane right there. And we got you on the card.
Really, it's been a long time coming. I was supposed to debut for NWC before the pandemic in 2020, but everything got canceled. But hey, we rain checked And hey, Zenshi's making his debut, so I can't wait to see who they put me against. I can't wait to be in front of that crowd. Let's go.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm gonna see. It's in October. I may have to put that date on the calendar, see if I can make it out to Queens, because it looks fun. It looks fun. And again, it's Lucha Libre. Yeah, I love it.
You're in New York, right?
Yes, I am.
New York, you got to be there. If you're anywhere in the area, you got to make it out.
Yep, definitely. I'll see if I bug another friend of mine.
Got Philly too in September.
Yeah.
Not Philly. Yes, in October. We got
October is just, yeah.
Back in the 2300 arena, we were just there for Battle Riot. Pretty awesome. September 11th got canceled in Texas,
yep.
So we're sticking right over to Philly. So we'll see you guys up there as well. That's not too far from you.
No, definitely not. It's the famous ECW arena. You got to go to the 2300 arena and go check that out. We got to talk. How does it feel now that MLW is back? You're still #over. So how is that all going?
MLW has been real interesting. I still don't feel like we're really back. I mean,
yeah.
We've had 2 tapings in a year. That's frustratingly not enough.
Yeah.
For many of us. You know, fortunately, we have the option to keep working other places and stay busy. So so we choose, and most of the roster has done that. October was the last one before this. And so Battle Riot was what month was that? July?
Yeah, it was July, I believe.
That was July.
Yeah.
And the last one before that, dude, was October.
Oof.
October. What? Almost a year. What? You kidding me, bro? So, I mean, we're back, but until we get these shows every month, it's not going to feel it yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Battle Riot 3 was pretty spectacular, and what a way to come back after so long in a huge freaking a huge mismatch of guys in a ring like that.
Yeah, it was definitely a sight to see. I've been lucky. I got to go to 2 of them when you guys were here at the Melrose, actually. So definitely, I can imagine how that crowd was for Battle Riot. Especially you did some crazy stuff in there. Like your ways to avoid elimination. It's like, okay.
You got to do your best.
Yeah.
Right? You got to do your best. And, you always get those haters on the internet like, Kofi did it first. You're just trying to be a Morrison. First of all, Kofi and Morrison are among the GOATs. I'll give them their props. But you got to realize, people, me and Kofi have been wrestling just about the same amount of time. Maybe I'm ahead of him. Maybe he's ahead of me by a year or 2. But just about the same amount of time. You also got to realize, ladies and gentlemen, just because you do something on TV in front of 50 gajillion people doesn't mean you did something first. I don't understand how hard is that. How hard that is to understand. I watch famous wrestlers that you and I know do spots from my friends that people don't even know about. I watch them on TV do it.
Yep.
Whether they stole it from them or they just happen to do it later on. But I'm just telling you guys, just because you see it on TV doesn't mean they're the first ones to do it. Just got to shut the Twitter guys in.
Yeah, no, definitely. And it is stuff that you see, like, especially if you're part of the independent wrestling world, you get to see, like, wait, I just saw this guy do this on the indie, and now that guy's doing it on TV. But Twitter world takes that.
Does happen. There's a lot of indies that will just rip off moves that are already over and go with it. And a lot of people don't think that's a big deal, but to me, I take this stuff pretty seriously. You know what I mean? And someone really carves. It's hard to create something new in wrestling. It really is to come up with something completely original. Most people can't do it. Most people can't do it at all. So when someone finally does, and they're active still, they can't just go around ripping their move off.
Yeah.
You can't do it. That's like ultimate disrespect. I try to stay away from moves that are from people that aren't even active anymore. That's how seriously I take it. But I'm saying, if they're still wrestling, even in a semi-retired capacity, you gotta stay away from their moves. So when I see everyone just hitting cutters, like it's $2.99, and I see everyone throwing the sweet chin music around, like it's just a freaking forearm. when I see people ripping off my moves, jacked up cartwheel, jacked up cartwheel stuff. When I see people ripping off moves, it's just disheartening. It's just, guys, I call myself an aerial artist for a reason, right? I'm not just a high flyer, okay? That's almost become an insult to me now. You know what I mean? Because I got a little more originality and creativity. I don't even know what the subject was. You just got me on a rant.
We started on MLW on the Battle Riot, and then just kind of we went everywhere like a Battle Riot. It's a little bit of everything in there. So, hey, it makes sense. The conversation went. It
Battle
worked.
Riot was a lot of fun, though. Battle Riot was super fun. MLW really put on a great event. We just, want to wrestle more often.
Yeah, no, I could definitely imagine, and that's the great thing about it, because it shows you guys are hungry. You guys want to get out there. You guys want to put on a show. You guys want to be there for the fans, because I can imagine now that reaction when the fans were there has to feel great. So even though, again, it's one event this whole year, it's still something to see the fans amped and ready for a show. And see you guys.
Yeah, pro wrestling is not pro wrestling without the fans. We tried that back in when we did the tape when MLW originally came back.
Yeah.
And having matches with no crowd, it's so different. It's so different because you just don't have that adrenaline. You don't have that same connection. Pro wrestling is pro wrestling because of the real-time feedback you get from the crowd and how that affects your performance and your ability to fight in the match and get the win. But without that real-time feedback, you're just left with, literally your training, which, hey, it really exposed a lot of people too. It really showed like, wow, this guy can't wrestle for shit. Or it showed like, wow, even though he doesn't have the crowd to kind of like boost him on, he still, has a good skill base to fall back on. So it was very, very challenging, and something I'll never forget. Those series of matches when we had with no crowd.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like the perfect time. A lot of people had to start to learn how to adapt in there, just to see how can they keep themselves going, how can they keep the match at a pace. Like you said, a lot of people learned maybe they don't got it anymore. They can't cut it there.
There's no distraction.
Yeah.
There's no distraction, right?
Yep.
You can do a cool move. Boom, the crowd. The camera's gonna go to the crowd and get their reaction. So they don't get the fact that you kind of messed up that headlock takeover. But when there's nothing else to pan to, we see how good you really are.
Yeah, no, definitely. What's funny with me? I brought this up with Jimmy Jacobs as well. I feel like with those no crowd shows, it makes it feel like training again. Because when you're just doing it for, hey, we're trying this out, we're doing this in front of possibly a few students, it's like, okay, there's nothing there that's going to be not on you. So with that, it's like, okay, take it back to basics. Think of it like, okay, we're in training again, but make sure it counts.
In a way, I can see how you'd make that comparison. However, for Major League Wrestling, there's never no stakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just because there's nobody in the ring, or I'm sorry, nobody around the ring.
Yeah.
That does change a lot. However, you don't get to redo it.
This is also true, yeah.
One shot. You still are trying to get that win to try to be next in line for the championship.
Yep.
It still counts in the record book. So even though it may feel like a training match, if you're out there and you treat a real fight like a training match, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
You're going to get beat. Surefire. You might get beat anyway, but if you treat it like a training match, you're definitely going to lose. So it's about treating every single fight as if it was the fight of your life.
Yeah.
Although I see what you're saying, I'll just push back a little bit. We got that warrior mentality. I tell the guys that I train with at the WA4, you gotta go out there and in your mind, you gotta think this is your last contest. How would you go out there?
Awesome. I guess that's a perfect transition here, because I wanted to talk to you about that as well. You're training a bit, aren't you? Now with
yeah, a bit. I've been, I do seminars and since back, I'm back home in Atlanta and traveling a little bit less with all the canceling shows and COVID kind of precautions.
Yeah.
Not everybody's running yet, so it's spending a lot more time at home. And my bro AR Fox, some somebody who's been my mentor for a long time in wrestling. One of my first mentors. He now owns the wrestling school we used to train at, the WWA4.
Gotcha.
It's only 25, 30 minutes from the house, so it's great. So I stop in as much as I can, and it's really been cool to be part of like the new generation coming up. And Fox is one of the best trainers, if not the best trainer ever. He's got a lot of good, credible success stories under his belt in only just a few years, and the talent that he keeps cranking out, he's doing something right. And every time I leveled up, so to speak, in my career, I can always point back to a conversation I had with Fox. That was always the start of something. Like I would see Fox after a year or after a while and sit down and pick his brain and talk with him, and then 6 months later, I would have a huge blow up because I would apply a lot of things. That man is wise beyond his years, and just such a good guy. It's such a good thing for pro wrestling.
Yeah.
Such passion, and it's great to just be around that energy again, and also help him train the next generation of students.
That's awesome. That's awesome. No, definitely. Getting to watch him over the years, because again, I got to watch a lot of you guys, and I've studied a lot of you guys, and AR Fox definitely has been someone that, again, also someone that's done so many moves that now you see the influence is there, especially with modern talent and guys you see now doing their thing even on main television product. You can see that influence.
For sure. We got like a list at the school of how many times or how many people have stolen Fox's moves from them on TV. It's pretty funny. It's like you should get royalty checks.
If only were that easy, right? Like there you go.
That easy.
Yeah.
And I would send Jack Cartwheel a cease and desist letter and so many royalty check requests. You know who that guy is? Jack Cartwheel. You seen him?
Name's ringing a bell, but no, I can't say I have.
Yeah, he's some jabroni in California that's been going around stealing my flag, leg sweep, and my Zenton. I gotta give him some credit though. I rag on this guy, make fun of him because of how disrespectful he is for stealing my shit while I'm active. But I gotta say, the guy is pretty good. The guy's got an athletic base that rivals myself, and I don't think I've ever said that about anybody. But Jack Cartwheel, let me let you in on a little secret. Back before I was a wrestler, I was a competitive gymnast. Okay, high level competitive gymnast. That's where I got the bread and butter of my aerial ability. And I feel like, that's definitely been the thing that set me apart and set me on just from a different cloth from most high flyers.
Yeah.
Who else has a competitive gymnastics background, at length, and then is also a pro wrestler? The only one I've ever met would be M-Dog 20 Matt Cross. He's the only one that I've ever met in wrestling that's doing a great job in wrestling that has a gymnastics background at a competitive level. But Jack Cartwheel, turns out, he has one as well. He's a level 10 gymnast. He went further in gymnastics, Jack Cartwheel, than I did by 1 year. So I know exactly what his body is capable of because we train the same damn thing.
Yeah.
So when I see him, I want to root for him. Like, hey, he's kind of one of me. But I just can't do it if he's over there doing my fucking move. I'm just saying. And then when I asked him about it, right, I'm like, okay, let me just talk to him. Let me extend the olive branch. Just say what's up and kind of clue him in on the fact that, hey, you're kind of picking off my stuff. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, Jack, how you doing? I'm Zenshi. He's like, hey, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, so where did you start doing that? That one. Someone sent it to me, actually, on Twitter. I was like, hey. And he was like, oh, yeah, some guy on Twitter. I just saw some guy on Twitter do it, and I just started doing it. Okay, hold up, stop. Right. He said some guy on Twitter. He didn't even know. Talk to pretty original. And he calls me some guy on Twitter.
Oh, you gotta love it. Oh. There we go.
Jack Cartwheel's kind of in the doghouse with me right now.
I think he's trying to hack into this because the call for a second. He's hearing you talk about him. He's like, I'm gonna start ending this.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect.
I was just basically saying that Cartwheel is kind of in the doghouse with me right now. That's all.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like again, like we talked about, like the craft. It's so hard enough to try to be original and try to put something out there for the fans to be like, oh, I haven't seen that. And then when you see it blatantly stolen, it's like, come on, man. Like it's
and I'm talking a little bit. I know a little bit in jest here. A lot of my wrestling brothers and sisters will say, "Hey, Zenshi, you're being completely petty. Like, just let them do the moves. You got a million other moves." I know, guys. I know I'm being a lot petty. I get it, but it's the principle that counts. Every time that crowd sees the Zenton done by jacked up cartwheel, and they see the leg sweep done by not by Zenshi but by jacked up cartwheel, it dilutes the value of that move. So when I go to that same place, if I make my debut someplace that he's already been, they'll be like, oh, he just stole that from Jack Cartwheel. The same way the guys on the internet say I stole things from Kofi and Morrison.
Yep.
It just doesn't help. It doesn't help. You know? So like if you're trying to pay tribute to someone, I get it. Maybe just change it a little bit. Do it a little bit differently. At least get their blessing. Ask them. You know what I mean? But don't just start doing it almost the exact same way.
Yeah. No, so it makes it worse, especially.
You can squash this very easily.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a man that does not. I'm a man that does not really hold grudges. We can squash this very easily. This is how we're gonna do it. Okay, man to man, me and you, we just get in the wrestling ring and we beat the crap out of each other. The winner keeps doing the move. How about that? Loser retires it. I'm willing to do that. Jack Cartwheel, let's go. Call up your people. Get them in contact with my people. We'll do it at GCW. We'll do it at PWG. We'll do it at WWA4. We'll do it at All-Star Wrestling. We'll do it anywhere you want. But right now, I think he's trying to avoid that because we already tried to get this going. He said, oh, no problem, Zenshi. I'll wrestle you. We might try to actually make it happen. Left on red.
Oh.
You don't want none of this smoke.
Damn.
Just saying, Jack Cartwheel, I'm here anytime you're ready.
Damn.
Moving on.
Well, there you go, guys. Maybe we'll share this around afterward, and we'll try to get this going. Maybe we can get it in New York done. Get both of you guys down here, and we'll see what happens. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh man, you gotta love it. I gotta bring up one thing though, because this is actually because of a certain individual that I definitely started following a lot more of your content as well. You were trying to get in this organization. It had to do with some family issues. So I got to bring him up because he was also in the Instagram chat earlier, trying to just with messages. So what's the deal with Quinn? We gotta know.
Quinn. That's Quinn is on punishment right now. I'm not talking to him. I've been talking to him for about a week and a half now. So. You know, I can't spill all the deeds.
Yeah.
I can't spill the complete family secret.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Here's the gist. I know something about him and his brother, Private Party. I know something about that whole family that they don't want out. I know something about that whole thing. Black down, so to speak. So I went down there. I found wherever he works. I forget the place he works. Yeah, WEA something. I don't know. We'll leave that name out.
Yeah.
I think you guys can figure it out. But I went down there to talk. I wanted to see the boss. Okay. Quinn is gonna go run me around in circles. You know, send me here, send me there, send me here. Hey, I just need to talk to the boss. They send me in circles. Okay, fine. I know him for a long time. We're like brothers in ourselves. Finally, at the end of the day, finally found him. Finally found El Jefe himself. Big money. I had the conversation I need to have. Fortunately, I can't get my way right now. There's a little bit of litigation, a little bit of paperwork in the way. A lot of paperwork in the way. But I did get assurance from the man himself that when the time is right, then she will be here. That's all I can share at this time, man.
There you go.
But hey, if you're interested in seeing the saga, go to my Instagram, go to the top, right under the highlights, you can see the whole chronicles of that day and how zany it was.
It definitely was. But again, guys, links will be down below, especially for all of his social media. So definitely enough going on there. But there you go, Quinn. We talked about it for you. that's another brother of mine right there. Love Quinn, but that's hilarious.
I love Quinn, but I think I just need him to play ball with me. I don't know why he's stonewalling me on this issue here.
And maybe you had to do with video games. Did you beat him in a game? That's usually it stops him from doing things.
He wanted to play Resident Evil for the longest. He's a Resident Evil head, and for the longest and Mario Kart. He loves Resident Evil, Mario Kart. I don't hate Mario Kart, but on the Switch it got boring after a while, so I stopped playing it. He's always trying to get me to play it, but maybe I should just play some games with him, and maybe he'll come around.
Yeah, you got to sweeten the deal a little bit. That's all. I'm not trying to give you advice, but just giving you maybe a little tip. That's how you get to Quinn.
I might have to take off on it.
There you go. But let me go in here. I have one of the final topics here to talk about, and it's the end goal. What is the end goal for you, Zenshi? Be it wrestling, be it life, what would you like to happen by the end?
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great question. It's funny. We'll keep with wrestling first.
Yeah.
Even when I started wrestling, I never really had a goal, like a huge goal. Like, obviously, when you imagine being a wrestler, you think WWE and you think WrestleMania, just because that's really the only blueprint you have in your head, right?
Yeah.
But as I told you, once I became a wrestler myself and I started training, I realized how much more is out there. So then I found myself at a conundrum. I'm like, well, what do I aim for now? Because I kind of like this wrestling thing. I'm pretty good at it. But what I thought was the goal is not necessarily the only goal now. So I really just kind of said, well, I want three things. I want to travel, I want to make some money, and I want to be an international star, whatever that means. I thought it would be cool to, be an international star, whatever that meant, and that's what I set my sights on. And throughout this, I've had a lot of fun. I've been able to travel. The money could be a lot better. And I'm an international star, you could say. So, I'm at the point where I'm accomplishing all those goals, or on the verge of accomplishing all those goals. So it's time to set some new ones. I'm about to be 30 years old this week, and that's a huge thing. Before, when I was a kid, I thought 30 was done. I thought 30 was finished. I thought you were old. You can't wrestle at 30. Are you kidding me? 30, WWE's not going to want you. They're not going to hire you. You're not going to have a job. But I got to 30. I'm almost to 30, and I'm healthy. I'm out having the most fun I've ever been. I'm the most, got the most resources I've ever had. I'm the smartest I've ever been. I'm the most knowledgeable I've ever been. So I can't wait to see what I can turn this decade into. As far as the immediate future, we got MLW. I'm still signed with them for the next few years. So my job is to do the best I can at MLW. I've certainly had a rocky start. Great performances, but haven't been able to get more than one win since I've been here. So my first thing is to get some wins under my belt and to get some gold. I want Myron Reed in the World Middleweight Championship.
Yeah.
Later in December at All-Star Wrestling, working it out, 80% signed already. Zenshi versus Myron Reed in a title match at All-Star Wrestling in December. We're just waiting for him to sign on the dotted line. I've already, I signed my piece. We're waiting on him. So we can't do it at Major League Wrestling. If they keep keeping us apart at MLW, then we just got to find a way to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm sure Myron, he talks the big game. He says he takes all comers. I'm sure Myron has had something to do with us not having any one-on-one contact with each other. We had a lot of tag team matches. They've been matches of the night every time. But we need that singles match. So right now, I'm focused on MLW, getting the World Middleweight Championship for Myron Reed. And then we'll go from there.
Awesome. Again, it's perfect there though. You have your sights set. You got what your plan is, and that's what you want to see. But that's awesome to hear. And I guess Myron Reed, hey, watch your back. Watch your back.
And then after that, we'll talk about, extending this family a little bit. I'd love to see an extended family office, across multiple multiple households, so to speak. I hope you get my euphemism.
Got him loud and
I
clear.
would love that. You know, I asked for backup in the Battle Royal, the Battle Riot, and I was left on my own this time. So hopefully, you know, next time they answer the call.
Hopefully, so maybe some doors can be open so that can happen. But again, hope people are understanding what we're saying.
It's like with other companies. They do like you know, branching out with other companies. So
Yep.
I feel like it's totally possible. And you know, I feel like it's definitely possible. Both parties do like working with other companies,
Yep.
especially lately. So we just gotta keep hounding them.
Yep. It's a great thing. So definitely. But hopefully by then, by the time we can do a rematch of sorts here, we can talk about that. Maybe the doors have been opened more and there's been some more opportunities done.
That would be amazing.
Yep. Awesome. But again, guys, don't forget, the links will be down below. Go support Lucha Wear. Go follow Zenshi on the social medias. Everything's going to be down below.
Yes, sir.
But definitely, guys, this has been awesome. Zenshi, thank you so much for joining me, man. Sorry again for the technical difficulties, but we're definitely going to do a rematch here and talk very soon. But guys, before we go, I do have to promote that next Monday we'll be joined by the ace of space himself, LSG. And then next week, still to be determined on a date, I'll be joined by the Prince of Camden himself, Deshaun Pratt. So definitely, guys, keep watching, enjoying the roundtable. Yep. So keep enjoying, guys.
Sure, you can get your Deshaun Pratt merchandise at luchaware.art, www.luchaware.art. Go to the search, put in Deshaun Pratt, all the cool gear. Put in Zenshi, you can see all the cool gear. Check us out, luchaware.art. Follow us on Instagram as well. Boom.
Definitely, guys. There you go. There's the plugs. You gotta love it. Gotta promote everything there. But Zenshi, thank you again. And guys, as always, don't forget to be wise, be genuine, be real, be better people. This has been episode 7 featuring the aerial artist Zenshi.